Okay, this is the reading test from test number 3 in IELTS book number 9, and I'll be going through the answers with you step by step like I always do. As you know, with these type of videos I never see the exam beforehand, so I'm likely to make a few errors as well, so always make sure you go to the end of the video to check that my answers are correct according to the answer sheet. Okay, so as you know, in my exams, I always suggest that you spend between 5 to 7 minutes making sure you understand the text, at least to the best of your abilities, before trying to answer the questions. And that's what I'm going to do now. So we'll do it step by step. Feel free to move or skip ahead if you don't need to look at this text. You can look at number 2 or 3 ahead. Okay. So it's 8:05, so at 9:05 we have to stop. Okay, so this is about attitudes to language, how people feel about language. Always read the first paragraph. There's no pictures here, so unfortunately, so we'll have to read the first paragraph, make sure we understand it. So it's not easy to be objective. It's not easy to be objective. Popular linguistic debate regularly deteriorates into. We don't know those words. It's not important, but it's, that shouldn't bother you. Language belongs to everyone, so most people feel that they have the right to hold an opinion about it. When opinions differ, their emotions can run high. Arguments can start easily over minor points of usage. Okay, so that's the introduction. Generally, they're saying that people are very emotional about how language is used. Okay, now before we carry on down here, I'm going to look at some of the questions. But these type of questions, yes, no, and not given, are slightly dangerous to look at because they will try to detract us from the actual answers. So ignore those type of questions, but we can look at these ones. And these are useful because they give us a summary. So complete the summary. It might be just one paragraph, it might be the whole thing. So let's have a look at the language debate. According to somebody, there is only one correct form of language. Linguists who take this process great importance on grammatical probably accuracy. Conversely, the view of something else, such as Joe Priestley, is that grammar should be based on usage, probably how people use it. Okay, and let's have a look at this. What's the writer's purpose? Now, this is another one. Don't look at those because only one of them will be correct. So just have a look at this. What's the writer's purpose? So we need to see what his point of view is. Okay, so that's all we can do before we go back to this text here. So read the first paragraph, the first sentence of each paragraph, and also underline numbers, capital letters, names, etc., and honey phrases, linking words, and conjunctions and things like that. Okay, so let's have a look. Language, moreover, it's very public behavior, so it's easy for different usages to be noted and criticized. Okay, any numbers here? No, but we do have honey phrases as a result. These things like no part of society, they're very strong. Okay, then here, in its general use, prescriptivism is the view that one variety of language has an inherently higher value than others. Okay, that's what it's called. And this ought to be imposed on a whole range of speech communities. Everybody should be following this. Okay, any others? No numbers here. This is important when they've got these inverted commas here. Correctly and incorrect. Okay. Right, next one. All the main languages have been studied prescriptively, especially in the 18th century, according to the writing of grammars and dictionaries. The aim of these early grammarians was threefold. Now these are important. A, B, and C. We'll come back to those. Improve, underline those. Rules of grammar, prescribed, proscribed. In this early period is a honey phrase. But is a honey phrase. Okay, look out for those. Those are useful. There are no half measures. Oops. Okay, now these are still with us, and they motivate a widespread concern that linguistic standards should be maintained. Still with us, important. Nevertheless, that's a honey phrase. That's important. This approach is summarized. Describe, not prescribe. Okay, there we've got that name, Joseph Priestley, Rudiments of English Grammar. Okay, and alright. In our own time, stream with both sides, painting unreal pictures of each other. Okay. Become extreme, okay. Okay, so there's not much else we can do with that, so we have to go back up. Let's have a look. There are understandable reasons. Okay. It's very public behavior, easy to noted and criticized. No part of society is exempt. Linguistic influence how we judge. As a result, it's easy to hurt and be hurt when language is unfeelingly attacked. I think that's all of those basically, because it's public, it's everywhere, everyone in every society and every status is, it's likely to happen, so I'm going to say agrees with the claims of the writing. I'm going to say writer. I'm going to say yes. People feel more strongly about languages. Small differences in language use. Small differences in language use. So education is a key word here. Education. Something related to education. Okay, let's come back to number 2. We might find it later. Our assessment of a person's intelligence, ways he uses the language. Okay. So person's intelligence, keyword here. Okay, well, I can't find anything about these two things. I'm going to say not given for both of them, because I can't find synonyms for language education and intelligence. Prescriptive grammar books cost a lot of money to buy in the 18th century. Again, strange. That's unusual to have all three. I think number 2, I can't find anything about number 3, and number 4 there's no mention of anything related to cost a lot of money. Prescription still exists today, yes, I saw that somewhere. These attitudes are still with us. Yes. According to descriptivists, it is pointless to try to stop language change. Descriptivists. Those are the opposite of alternative point of view. Describe, not prescribe. Okay, well, if we know that prescriptivists are the people who say how you should use the language, the opposite is descriptivism. So that's true, that's yes. Description only appeared in the 18th century. Okay, this one is tricky. If we make it into a question, did description only appear after the 18th century? Oh, not in. So this is 1761. So that is no, because this is in the 18th century. Both descriptors have been misrepresented. Yes, they are misrepresented because they try to use extremes, both sides painting unreal pictures about each other. So that is yes. I feel number 2 might be wrong, but because we don't have time to spend too much on this, we need to carry on. Maybe we started at 5 past. We've done 10 minutes, so let's spend another 2 or 3 minutes trying to find this. Dangers and small differences in language use. One variety of language has a higher value than others, imposed on a whole speech community in relation to grammar, frequently with reference to pronunciation. The variety which is favoured in this account is usually a version of standard English, especially as formal spoken, which closely affects the style. Adherence to the style is difference are incorrect. In the 18th century, they wanted to codify. They wanted means of settling disputes over usage, and they wanted to point out that they felt to be common errors in order to improve the language. It's best runs on rules of grammar. Some rules are prescribed and learned following. This early period, there were no half measures. Usage are either right or wrong. There was a task that the grammar is simple to pronounce judgment upon them. Still with us. People in general felt more strongly about language. Okay, that's not true. You're not talking about grammarians, not talking about scientists, but people in general, and there's no mention of that. Our assessment of intelligence is affected by the way he or she. It's not given here. It means our assessment. There's no mention of it here. Prescriptive grammar costs a lot of money. No mention of it here. So I think that is correct. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot. Spending too much time on just the first question. God. Okay. So here we are. According to, there's only one form of, so these are prescriptivists. Only one form of language, one correct form of language. We knew that. Linguists who take this approach to language place great importance on grammatical accuracy, grammatical rules. Conversely, the view of something such as descriptivists, such as this is the opposite, so that's A, is that grammar should be based on what we hear, popular speech, based on evaluation, based on popular speech. going to say popular speech because he's saying that we should just follow on what most people say. So most people, popular, the people, most people. Okay. What is the writer's purpose in reading passage 1? Historical account, argue in favour, particular, no, not to argue in favour. Historical maybe to describe the differences between spoken, nothing about spoken and written. How to show how a certain view has been discredited, no. Both sides, talking about both sides. Descriptive, they don't care about standards because prescriptive grounds have been presented as blind adherence to radical historical tradition. Opposition has even been liberal, radical liberalism, elite concept. He's mentioning both, neither giving a positive or negative each of them, so it's not the either. It's not a certain view, so it must be a historical account of differing views of language. Okay, now we can move on to the next one. Okay, this is tidal power. What do we know about tides? Tides relate to the sea, movement of the water up and down, depending on where the moon is. Okay, so let's read the first paragraph and then we'll look at some of the questions. So, undersea turbines, which produce electricity from the tides, are said to become an important source of renewable energy for Britain. It is still too early to predict the extent of the impact they may have, but all the signs are that they will play a significant role in the future. So undersea turbines, electricity, especially in the UK. Okay, and first sentence of each paragraph. Actually, let's look at the questions first. Sorry. Okay, so which paragraph contains the following information? You may use any letter more than once. This is, by the way, it says this on every question paper, so don't be concerned that you've not used it twice. It is for everybody, it has the same. Location of the first test site back into Britain. Way of the method of bringing the power produced on one side back to Britain. So Britain's here, there's the site. How do I bring that back onto the land? A reference to a previous attempt by Britain to find an alternative reference to a previous attempt. Mention the possibility of applying technology from another industry. Okay. Write 5. Choose the correct letters. 5. Only 5. So there's another, how many there? Probably 10, 11. So those, too many of them are trying to distract you. And the sit down, hold on. Raised fall. These look like trout or salmon. So maybe it's to do with them. The tower can be raised up. Okay, to get rid of the seaweed from the blades. Okay, air bubbles result. This is known as, I know this actually in English, but we have to look at the text here. Sea life is not endangered due to the fact that blades are comparatively slow moving. Okay, let's have a look here. So, which paragraph? Okay, so we're going to look at the first line of each one. Operating on the same principle as wind turbines, power in sea turbines comes from tidal current. But unlike when the tides are predictable and the power is constant. Okay. Anything else here? Britain, unlike wind power, Britain, Dutch, 20 years, New Zealand, Japan. Okay, Europe. Carbon dioxide emissions, anything else? Okay, next one. Tidal sites have been identified that will produce 1/6 or more of UK's power. Oil and gas turbines undercutting those already ailing nuclear industry. one site alone. Scotland, Orkney, mental birth 10%. Suffolk, Scotland, Northern Ireland, Cameron, Bristol Channel, Britain, 3 times. There's a lot there. Probably that's about sites. And this one is probably about, I don't know yet. Okay, work on designs for the new terminal sites are well advanced at the University of Southampton Sustainable Energy Research Group. Okay, Devon, European Union, Azerbaijan, Southampton Research, North Sea Oil. Five to 10 years. That's how much? 3 years. So it's 80%. Britain. Okay, a marine turbine blade needs to be only 1/3 of the size of a wind turbine. 1/3 of the size, 3 times as much power, 30 meters, 20 meters. That's some answer for there. The towers will stick out of the water to be lit. For maintenance, clean seaweed. So that's your answer for that one over there. Again, fish and other features have to be unlike slow turning. That's the answer for this one over here. Should we just do that while we know the answer? A slow turning. And can be raised for, lifted out for maintenance and the extraction of seaweed maintenance. Is correct, and slow turning correct. And to be saying air bubbles, I think I saw it back there. Anyway, we'll come back to that. Dr. Bahaj, on the site, Islands, French grid, Britain. Okay. Cavitation, one technical, low pressure behind it. Air bubbles right from the low pressure behind it turning behind the blades. So the low pressure, 25 low pressure, and this is called cavitation. Air bubbles. We have to test the number of blade types to avoid this happening. Okay, sorry. Didn't have time to read all of that. That's it. Anything else so far? Okay, right. Let's go back up here, and let's go back up here. Location of the first test site. So these are sites here. One site alone. First test site. Unlike wind power, which originated Britain and emerged to have big export earner in Ireland, such as Japan and New Zealand. The first test station. First test station, Lynmouth in Devon. Lynmouth in Devon. Which paragraph? C. a way of bringing back into Britain. The power produced back into Britain might still be here. Okay, here we go. Re-imported into Britain by the sea, by the go under the channel, fed into the French grid and re-imported back into Britain. So to produce more power needed, yes, E. A reference to previous attempt by Britain to find an alternative energy source. Previous attempt we saw it up here. Originally developed, then abandoned. So that's A. Applying technology from another industry. There's probably something about down here. It's labeled applying technology. Okay, North Sea oil. Don't even be dealing with the hostile saline environment on the sea has been developed in the North Sea oil industry, and much is already known about turbine blade design because of wind power. So we've got ship propellers and North Sea oil, so that's C again. So they are in fact repeated. Okay, now which 5 of the following claims are made by the writers? More reliable source of energy than wind power? Yes, because we saw somewhere up here that it is constant. Predictable and power is constant. So that is A. Replace, no. Replace all other forms, rubbish. Its introduction has come as a result of public pressure, nothing about that. Cut down on air pollution. They're made by the writer, so we don't know. I mean, maybe. We'll come back to that one. It could contribute to the closure of many existing power stations in Britain. No, I don't think so. Could be means of increasing national income, yes, because that up here, up here it says that the Dutch became the primary exporters of wind power, and it could make it a major industry. Unlike wind power, this could be a major industry, an exporter, big export earner to earn money. So that is national income. G, it could face a lot of resistance from other fuel industries. We're not sure about that one, maybe. It could be sold more cheaply than any other type of fuel. Yes, it's very... hang on. Britain would be able to close gas, coal and nuclear power plant export route to other parts of Europe. Close. So there's the keyword here. So closure, E. A lot of resistance from other fuel industries. Sold more cheaply than other types of fuel. Any other type of fuel, I'm a bit concerned about that. I'll come back to that one. It could compensate for the shortage of inland sites for energy. Shortage of inland sites. Okay, let's do J. I know it's J because one site alone between Orkney and mainland Scotland. Particular features between Orkney and Scotland, between Channel Islands. So I'd say J. So we've just got one more to do here. Compensate for the shortage. Load of resistance. Cut down air pollution. Didn't see anything about air pollution, so we've got between these three here. Cheaply than any other. That's what I thought it was. Drastically reducing its carbon dioxide emissions. Air pollution. Is it pollution? Is carbon dioxide pollution? Is it pollution? That's the question, because, well, yeah, I suppose it is. And it's not what you want, so it's A, D, E, F, and J. Okay, because it does say it's better, its price is competitive with modern gas turbines. Just gas. Yeah, so that's the problem. I think that's right. Okay. And we've done that. So there we go. So on to the next reading. Information theory, the big idea. Information theory lies at the heart of everything, from DVD players and the genetic code of DNA to the physics of the universe at its most fundamental. It has been central to the development of science of communication, which enables data to be sent electronically and has therefore had a major impact on our lives. Science of communication. Never heard of this before, so it's very new to me. Had a major impact on our lives. Okay. Okay, so which contains an explanation of the factors affecting transmission of information, an example of how unnecessary can be omitted, ignored, thrown away. Shannon's attitude to fame, references to famous machine capable of interpreting incomplete information. Detailed account of an incident involving information theory. Detailed account refers to what Shannon initially intended to achieve in his research. Okay, any other questions we can use here? Yes. Which one space from the probe transmitted? So this is going to be just from one picture, from one paragraph, and no doubt it's going to relate to a detailed accident. So you probably 31 is related to this here. We can guess because it's detailed. Okay, so the probe transmitted pictures of both, so 1 and 2, and then left. Scientists feared that both are about to stop working. Going to, it's the meaning here. And the only hope was to tell the probe to replace them with difficult. Them, what is them? Referring to these two things here. Distance being probe difficult. The speed of light. What was used. And the message picked up the probe and switch over to place. Okay. On. And anything here. True force not given are no good for this. Okay, so let's go back to these questions here. Alright, in a event took place, primary, many applications of information theory. Voyager 1, 1997, Jupiter and Saturn, solar system, after 25 years of exposure, freezing temperatures, on the brink of failing. In fact, we can answer that question right now. About to fail. Going to stop working, about to fail. So sensors and circuits. Sensors and circuits. Check your spelling. It's C-U-I-T-S. Experts. Voyager 1. Use spares, change many parts with the probe. Not using a radio dish, sent out depths of space. Speed of light, here we've got the speed of light. What was used? A radio dish. Message was sent, depth of space, even traveling at speed, it took 11 hours. So radio dish. Radio dish was used. Far beyond the orbit of Pluto yet, ran to hear the faint call and successfully made the switchover. What switchover? To do something or lose contact with the program. Get a message to spares. You replace them with spares. Pictures of Jupiter and Saturn. Pictures with Jupiter. Doesn't matter if it's capital or small letters in this case, only in your writing. Saturn. It doesn't matter. And then left the sword out of the solar system. Left the solar system. Okay, so we've done that already, which is good. But we need to go back to these questions, obviously. Detailed account of an incident involving information theory that could well be 31. So let's just put A here, unless we're wrong. Longest his triumph for NASA engineers. Died a year earlier, but Michigan Shannon showed seen the sky before. Laboratory Shannon 1940s. He single-handedly created an entire science of communication. Data has to be conveyed rapidly yet accurately. We've seen Shannon here. Reference what Shannon initially intended to achieve in his research. Shunned the resulting acclaim. Acclaim means fame. So he shunned it, he didn't want it. To shun is to try and avoid. So that is B here. What did he initially want? Doesn't say anything about initially. Okay, here we go. Shannon originally had for his work. Okay. So this is C. So 1 or 2. Okay. Noise usually means unwanted sounds interfere with genuine information. In particular, Shannon showed this rate depends on its bandwidth, resulting limit. The trick is coding bandwidth. Okay. Over the years, scientists have devised many such coding methods. Crucial many technological feats. Craft, planets. Other codes. Code, barcode. Okay, such as, right, Shannon also made the definition of efficient ways of storing information by storing in redundant bits. Okay, is that the end? Yes, okay. So unnecessary can be unnecessary and redundant. So that's F. Redundant meaning superfluous. Details a machine capable of interpreting incomplete information. Detail interpreting incomplete information. Machine. Let's come back to that one. Might pop up later. The explanation of factors affecting the transmission. Factors affecting transmission of information. Affecting factors affecting transmission. It's noise. Noise. So that's D. We haven't got E here. We've got A, we've got B, we've got C, we've got D. It doesn't say here that it might be used twice, interestingly enough. A, B, C, D, E, F, and there's only 6 paragraphs, so it can only be E. Can't find the word for machine. Okay. Error detection system that ensures my checkout lasers can read the price, say a crumpled bag of chips. Okay, so incomplete crumpled bag of chips. Wow, that's very tricky. So it's the laser that can incomplete information you're supposed to get from a crumpled bag of chips. Okay. Anyway, you could have got it through deduction. There's only E left. Okay, now we've done those, so that's good. So we've just got these ones to do. This concept of describing something as true or false. Starting point for Shannon's attempt to send message over distances, true or false. He set out with an apparently similar to print down the precise meaning of the concept of information, the most basic form of something is true or false, captured in binary unit of 1 or 0. Starting point, true. The amount of information that can be sent in a given time period is determined with reference to the signal strength and noise level. Amount of information. So this is about bandwidth here. So the noise, to capture the effects of noise with mathematics. In particular, Shannon showed that noise sets a limit on the rate at which information can pass along communication channels while remaining error-free. This rate depends on the relative strength of the signal and noise traveling down the communication and on its capacity, its bandwidth, the channel's capacity. So we've got noise, we've got strength of the signal, and we've got how much the channel, its bandwidth, can transform. Signal strength, noise level, and capacity. So false. We need bandwidth as well. As products have been developed which contain more information than shall have anticipated as possible. Now I'm going to say no, because the so-called turbo codes, which come very close to Shannon's ultimate limit for the maximum rate. So they're close, that means they're almost, not beyond, so therefore that is false. More information than should have anticipated as possible. So he knew that they could go to that maximum, but not quite over it. Okay, so there's the end of the test, and we're going to just check the answers now. So just give me 1 second. I think they are at the bottom. Test number 3, so somewhere down here. Tape scripts. So academic reading test number 3. Here we go. Let's go up to the top of this and change the color. Let's use the language. And I wonder if I can get 100% this time. Probably not. Okay. So this is yes. Okay, so the people feel more strongly about language education. Okay, we'll come back to that one. So that's no. This is yes. This is not given. Okay, we'll come back to that one. Prescriptivism still exists today. 5, yes. Number 6, yes. Number 7, no. And number 8, yes. Okay, we'll just check all the answers and then we'll come back to these two here. So number 9, we've got H, number 10, F, number 11, A, and number 12, C, and number 13, B. Good. And then tidal power. 14C, 15E, 16A, 17C, and then any order A, D, E, F, and J. A, D, E, F, and J. All of them correct. Good. Right, now let's go to this one here. You should have maintenance, which is good. 25, 4 is slow turning. 25 is low pressure and cavitation, that's correct. and then this one here is D, F, B, E, A, and C. And this is Jupiter, Saturn, solar system, sensors and circuits, spares, radio dish, and the last one should be true. Okay, this one is true apparently. Let's have a look at that one, and that one's false. So let's have a look at 39 here. Okay, so amount of measurements determine reference to signal strength, noise level. Maybe I misunderstood what bandwidth is. Relative strength of the signal and on its capacity. Amount of information sent given time period. Maybe that's it. Let's just see. The rate depends on the and its capacity. The rate depends on the relative strength of the signal and noise traveling down the communication channel and on its capacity. And on its capacity. Maybe I'm misunderstanding rate here. If somebody would like to explain to me why this is false, sorry, this is true, in reference to the capacity mentioned here, as in, or its bandwidth mentioned here, then please write it in the comments, because it's not clear to me why they didn't mention bandwidth as well as noise level and signal strength. It's quite technical perhaps, but as a native English speaker I can't see why that's true. Okay, anyway, let's go back to these ones here. Notice usually supposedly the first reading is easier than the other two, but I found it a lot more difficult than the other two, which is something you can take into consideration, that perhaps ignoring the just skipping perhaps to the second or third reading might be worth your while, rather than spending too much time on it, and making sure you get the good answers. The best spend more time at least on the answers that you are likely to get good results in. Okay, people feel more strongly about language education than small differences in language use. Okay. People. Oh, here we go. How are we judging? Oh, I was looking in the wrong paragraph. Yeah. There's the word intelligence. I mean, no need to worry about that. People still and about small differences. And this, in the most general sense, is a view that one variety of language has an inherently higher value than others, and this ought to be imposed on the whole speech community. Okay, I see what they're getting at, but the problem is people are, oh God, I don't know, people, most people, some people feel, this is a very general word to use here, I think, okay, well, are most people prescriptivists? As in, do most people feel that this is one correct way? And maybe it's true, but it's also quite subjective to say that people feel more strongly. Anyway, so this is no, but that one I can definitely see that I made a mistake there, but I don't completely agree with the way this question was worded. Anyway, so 3 mistakes. That makes me 8.5 out of 9. Very difficult to get a 9 on reading unless you're quite lucky in a way. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video, and feel free to comment below with ideas and answers. Thank you.